What really drew me to the project was the idea of being able to play a character across such a large period of time. We meet Amy when she's 17, and so she's fresh and wide-eyed, she's innocent, and then when we come back to her, 7 years have passed, and the apocalypse happens, so she's a very different person. Society is fractured. Everyone's in their small groups, their small colonies, and they either live underground or, like us, we're protected. We have high walls surrounding our colony and a lot of reefs on the beach. And yeah, everyone's just fractured. And that's what's so beautiful about Joel's journey, is that he comes across all these different people and kind of collects things on the way and collects them, so to speak. Amy and Joel have an adorable date in a car, which you really get to see how innocent Joel is and how endearing Amy finds that. And they end the date with him going to his parents and Amy going to her parents, and he says, "I'll find you. I'll come find you." And she says, "You better." 7 years go by. He finally decides that life is not worth living if you don't have someone you love. And so he goes off on this life-changing, extremely dangerous trip. And it's really nice because we have a callback at the end when we have to part ways again. Amy's the one who says, "I'll find you." And Joel says, "You better." 7 years is a really long time in apocalypse time. It's like dog years. So Amy is a completely different person. For starters, she doesn't have her support system. Her mother and her father aren't there. And she's just living with a group of 20 geriatric people. It's called the old colony. So she's been thrust into this carer role where she has to help them with everything, with their medicine and with their gout, and she's cooking and she's helping nurse them and all these different things. So when we find Amy, it's someone she's a little more world-weary, not quite as perky and energetic as when we last saw her, but I think her sense of humor has changed. It's a little darker than it was before. It's great that you can physically see how much Amy's changed. She's unscarred at 17, and then when we find her again, she's got a big old scar running down here and connecting right down her chin as well. So she's seen things and done things, and it's interesting when Joel comes there because they're two different people. 17 is a very specific age, you know. It's actually really sad when Joel and Amy finally meet, because Amy has changed so much, and she's not in a place where she can even think about herself. She's thinking about everyone else. And seeing Joel shakes her, I think. A face from the past, obviously, but also seeing someone her own age who, in her head, she was always more mature than him, right? She always knew more worldly. But seeing him having survived this incredible journey is actually really inspiring to her. I think seeing him reaffirms her belief in herself, that she can do whatever she puts her mind to. Michael is amazing. I've never worked with a director like him. He was so calm, so collected, and it is only his second film, so I wasn't sure what it was going to be like, but no, he knew what he wanted and was just very relaxed, open to playing around. Yeah, such a dream to work with. I enjoy bushcrafting and foraging and camping, so I know some of those skills in England already. I think if I were in England, I'd be able to survive. I'd know I can tap that birch tree and get water, and I can use this for, I know what mushrooms I can eat, you know, all of those things. If I were anywhere else in the world, I'm dead. I have no clue about the vegetation here. But yeah, that would be my plan, to go into the wilderness, yeah. The first drawing I saw, I think, was a frog, a giant frog. And I do remember thinking, oh wow, that's not what I expected at all. Because in your head you go, monsters, and you think scary, right? And I'm not sure how it will turn out, these are advanced drawings, but it was interesting in that they just looked real. It wasn't like saliva coming out and fangs and blood dripping. It wasn't like that, which I think is a really easy go-to for a monster. Sometimes real life is scarier than anything fiction.